Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of TXN Sports World. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. And tonight, got a big show for you here tonight. And let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. The World Baseball Classic has come and gone, and we have a winner. Now, you remember last week where we left off. We left off on the quarterfinal round, the bracket round. Cuba defeated Australia 4-3. Team USA defeated Venezuela 9-7. Mexico defeated Puerto Rico 5-4. And Japan knocked off Italy 9-3. And then in the semifinals, Team USA all over Cuba, 14-2 beatdown by Team USA. And then Japan defeated Mexico by a score of 6-5. And then the championship game went down this past Tuesday night at Lone Depot Park in Miami. And when all was said and done, Team Japan captured the World Baseball Classic Championship. They knocked off Team USA 3-2, the final score. Shota Imanaga was the winning pitcher. Merrill Kelly, the losing pitcher. Shohei Ohtani picked up the save. 4 home runs were hit in this game. Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber, home runs for Team USA, and Munetaka Murakami and Kazuma Okamoto with home runs for Japan. And Team Japan gets it done. They win the World Baseball Classic by a final score of 3-2. I believe for Japan in the history of the World Baseball Classic, this is now their third championship. They won the first 2 World Baseball Classics. They defeated Cuba in 2006 and defeated South Korea in 2009. And then, of course, in 2013, the Dominican Republic won it by defeating Puerto Rico. And then in 2017, Team USA knocked off Puerto Rico. This time it was Japan defeating Team USA by that final score of 3-2. And very exciting World Baseball Classic, to say the very least. The next one will be in 2026. Shohei Ohtani, to the surprise of none of us, was the most valuable player of the tournament, and rightfully so. And I mean, just an all-around job by Team Japan, winning the World Baseball Classic. I mean, we all thought the Dominicans were going to win it, but it ended up going to Team Japan. And, Japan was our second choice, to be honest with you. And, very surprising that the Dominicans did not win that. We all thought they were going to, but no, it ended up being Japan defeating the USA. Those were the second and third choices, respectively. And Team Japan flexed their muscle and showed why they have been the kings of the World Baseball Classic ever since they started this tradition back in 2006. And they've now won 3 of these. So you can consider Team Japan a dynasty when it comes to the World Baseball Classic. And we'll see if they can make it 2 in a row and 4 overall 3 years from now. But for right now, congratulations to Team Japan. Well-deserved and hell of a job. Enjoy it. You deserve it. You earned it. And not much more for me to add on to it. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. We took in the championship game the other night. Great game. I know we were all rooting for Team USA, of course, but at the end of the night, Team Japan, Shohei Ohtani and company getting the job done. 3rd World Baseball Classic championship for Team Japan. They're a dynasty when it comes to this thing.
Yeah, and the thing is that this time around, they earned it. They worked their hearts out on this one. The U.S. kind of had to bounce back. They lost early in the tournament, losing to Mexico, and they had to really grind it and get to where they needed it to get. Pitching was a liability for Team USA. It held up. Especially in the knockout, in the early rounds, their pitching really held up. But when it came to the bats didn't come alive until once they got into the knockout stages. And then offensively, they started to click on all cylinders. And with the final, U.S. had their opportunities. They were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They left 11 on base. You can't win a championship game if you make those kinds of mistakes. And, all in all, it was without a doubt a great tournament. Japan just picked their spots. They knew the hitting that they needed to do. All hands were on deck for Japan and for the USA, so there was no restrictions here in the final, and they played it exactly the way it needed it to be played. Both teams showing their hearts out there. If you heard Shohei Ohtani's comments prior to the game in the clubhouse, basically saying, look, don't admire Team USA. Yes, they are incredible. They are a stacked team. There's a lot of superstars, but we're not to admire these guys. We're here to play against them and beat them. So he fired up the troops, and they literally played like they wanted the WBC title. It wasn't that, oh, we're happy to be here. No, they were there to win the championship. They were there for a mission. Where maybe some other countries were happy to be there. For Team Japan, it was literally about winning the WBC and getting back to that glory days where they had Ichiro Suzuki and Masahiro Tanaka and Daisuke Matsuzaka and those guys. And what they did in the first 2 editions of the WBC and how they won those championships with those guys. So now you have a new crop of guys led by the MVP, Shohei Ohtani. And what he brought to the table was without a doubt one of the biggest matchups, one of the biggest moments. Yu Darvish did pretty well, made a big mistake, hanging one to Paul Goldschmidt, and Scully just deposited upper deck, deep back gone, as I called it on that night. And then, of course, the 9th inning, Ohtani comes in, got a big double play, and that set it up. What undoubtedly everybody was waiting for. The world wanted to see it. Ohtani versus Trout as the final batter in the WBC. And Ohtani strikes him out swinging to win the WBC. So I mean, it was incredible. That was unbelievable. Congratulations to Japan for winning the title. And yeah, I mean, WBC normally gets a bad rap for a number of years. A lot of people call it a glorified exhibition tournament, but this time around, it didn't feel like it. It felt like this was meaningful. And what it was the players bought into it, the fans bought into it, and baseball for these last 2 weeks was relevant. On par with the NCAA tournament, on par with the XFL, on par with the NBA, on par with the NHL, and now you have momentum going into the baseball season that, oh, by the way, starts next week. So it's a great thing that they did it this way. It was incredible that they pulled it at this point, and the way that they did it, I really enjoyed it. I really had a lot of fun doing it. I know the games that we were doing was absolutely phenomenal. Miami was electric the whole way through, especially you had all the Caribbean battles. And then once we got into the quarters, the semi, and the final, I mean, all the games were sold out. There was never an empty seat. The crowd was electric. It felt like a World Series game in March. And you know us. Normally, we always get hyped about it in September, October, because that's when they do it. But let me say it, man, I've never, ever felt that kind of energy for a baseball game this early in the year. And the WBC really, really did it. I got to give hats off to Rob Manfred. I know we give him a lot of flack. I know we give him a lot of garbage. I know we give him a lot of crap for the way he's been handling baseball, with the pitcher count, with the time limit, with the bat, with with some of the rules that he's implementing this year. We can talk about that later tonight when we do the preview for Major League Baseball. But all in all, Manfred deserves to get a lot of credit because this was originally started by Buzz Selig. Selig was the one that brought this tournament to life, and Manfred not only continued the legacy, but I had to openly admit it. For me personally, as an announcer, as a commentator, as the lead commentator for Major League Baseball, this was the most fun I ever had covering the WBC. I normally, like I said, back in the day, we kind of talked about it being just an exhibition tournament, but there was something different about this tournament than it was in recent years. And I really hope they can keep that momentum 3 years from now when we do this all over again in 2026. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Well, like you said, this was I definitely enjoyed this tournament. I mean, Japan. I mean, it's not a surprise that they won this. I mean, the Dominican Republic was the favorite, but they didn't even get there. They didn't even get to the semifinals. But you also got to tip your hat to Team USA because not many people thought that they would even make it to the finals, despite the roster that they had. But Japan, I mean, they were the better team in this World Baseball Classic. I mean, Shohei Ohtani, no surprise, was the most valuable player. But let's not count let's not count out another Japanese guy, and I can't even remember the name of the guy that was signed by the Red Sox, but that Japanese guy really had one heck of a World Baseball Classic. So Red Sox fans probably got to love that, and hopefully that can carry on over into the regular season. So we'll wait and see on that. But I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I know we give flack to Rob Manfred for some of the other things he does, but he deserves major credit for this one. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, how can you still give credit to Rob Manfred for some of the things that he's done?" Look, the thing is, nobody's going to be. You can't please everybody, but Rob Manfred, at least for one time and one time only, he deserves credit for with this World Baseball Classic being something really good. And I know people continue to criticize it, especially after what happened with the Edwin Diaz situation when he hurt his knee in the celebration. But the thing is, guys, it was in the celebration. It didn't have anything to do with the competition. And I know people are like, they need to stop having Major League Baseball players take part in this. I disagree with them. I mean, look, injuries are it's just part of what happens. I mean, you take a look at and I know I'm getting off topic. You look at Rhys Hoskins today. He suffered an injury in a spring training game that I heard now it's a torn ACL, and he's done for the year. So
yeah.
So don't give me this nonsense of. I mean, it can happen whether it's in a World Baseball Classic, spring training, or even a regular season game. Injuries do happen. So that's just something I just want to get off my chest because I'm hearing. I mean, and Fletch, I'm sure you've heard of it too. That people are saying, "Oh, these Major League Baseball players shouldn't be playing in the World Baseball Classic because the potential for an injury.
Yeah, and the thing is that also the one thing that we were also hearing is that that a lot of the owners might not let that one thing that I was hearing is maybe that the owners might not allow their players, or at least their star players, to do the next edition, which I think would be a damn shame. Because when you get the best players in the world representing your country in a tournament like this, I think it highlights the greatness of your sport. And I really and the thing is, and I'm going to openly admit this, I think just like how in the Olympic Games, how where you see a lot of the NBA players representing their countries, and we see how great those tournaments are, and the years that the NHL used the men's hockey tournament, and they had the greatest players in the NHL perform in the Olympics. And I think we can all agree one of the greatest tournaments was back in 2010 in Vancouver, and USA versus Canada, the greatest final ever in greatest gold medal game of all time. So I believe that
net bounce scramble, anyone?
Yeah, net bounce scramble, and then Sidney Crosby winning the gold medal for Canada in overtime. So I mean, you get that, and I really believe that the WBC is actually a great mechanism for Major League Baseball. So I think what they did is actually great for the game. And I would go one further. I don't know if baseball's in the Olympic program. This is why the WBC was created, because of the fact that there was a time where, for some stupid reason, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, took baseball off the program. They did not have baseball as one of their events for the Olympic Games in the Summer Olympics. And that's why the WBC was created, for that reason. So,
and I'll tell you this, Fletch, and I'll tell you this right now. If the owners decide to not allow these Major League Baseball players to represent their country in the World Baseball Classic just because of what happened with Edwin Diaz, I think it's a damn shame. It would just make the World Baseball Classic.
It'll dilute it. It will absolutely hurt. It will absolutely hurt the game, because of the fact that if you're not going to allow the best players in the world to perform, then it does a major disservice not only to them, but to the game and to the product, because that's the big thing. The product was absolutely, like, the whole time we were talking about the WBC, it was a hot topic on social media, and it was for all the right reasons. The games, the fans, the excitement, the atmospheres of all these matchups that we were seeing, not just
like
in
a
the
World Series game.
Yes, I was gonna say, like in Arizona, did you see it was completely sold out, a sellout for USA versus Mexico. I'm not even adding Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic, or Venezuela versus when they were playing in Miami. I mean, we were seeing numbers that, honestly, the Miami Marlins doesn't even draw at all. Like, their games, that was a full house to capacity, sold out at Lone Depot Park, and it wasn't even a Miami Marlins game. It was because of the WBC, the so-called exhibition tournament. All those games were sellouts. There was not one seat. SRO signs were up for all those games in Miami. And that's the power of the WBC. So, yeah,
exactly.
It could be an exhibition tournament, but don't tell that to the players. Don't tell that to the fans who went to see those games. Media can suck it for all I care. because of the fact that because you're probably the stupid trolls that probably, that like the
I
Keith
like to hate on
Olbermans.
Rob Manfred.
Yeah, like the Keith Olbermans and the Trey Wingos of the world. I mean, go screw yourselves, you freaking rats.
Or a so-called Yankee Mad Dog Messiah who likes to poo-poo all over this guy every single time.
Well, I won't go there. I'll leave that one alone. But I definitely would have a bone to pick with Overman and some of the others because they were the ones that kind of cried foul over it. Like even Christopher Magdar Russo didn't feel anything. Are you flipping kidding me right now? Mad Dog, of all people, you're the biggest baseball historian of the thing, and you dumped all over this event? Go screw yourself, man. You're so into the Stone Age. It's not even freaking funny. Don't even get me started before I say something I'm gonna regret. Florio, just go.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Christopher Mad Dog Russo can suck it. As far as I'm concerned, and one more thing, Florio, before I pass it on to you, my message to the owners: do not, and I repeat, do not overreact and tell these professional baseball players who represent their country with pride and with passion, like we saw in this tournament, do not say to them, you're not participating in it. Because if you do, it's gonna be how did you say it, Fletch? It's gonna be like a downfall, or
will diminish it. It'll devalue.
It's gonna diminish the World Baseball Classic
and devalue it.
It's gonna devalue it. So if you do that, I swear I'm gonna go off on these owners if they do this. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, get that Undertaker shovel ready, and oh boy, Christopher Mad Dog Russo hosts a show called High Heat. These boys just brought the high heat and then some. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how.
Yeah, and like I said, if these owners do this, I'm getting my Undertaker shovel because I'm gonna bury those owners 6 feet under the graveyard in Death Valley.
Alrighty, so hopefully that'll take care of the rants for this evening. Let's talk about something. We got something big on the pipeline here now. Staying with baseball, of course, we just had the World Baseball Classic, and now 1 week from tonight, what have you, the 2023 Major League Baseball season is underway. And you know what that means? Our annual TXN Sports World Major League Baseball preview. And it's here and it's now. And let's dive right on in, gentlemen. All right, here we go. Started out with the AL East as we always do. Of course, who represents that division by now. So with that, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Let's start it off with you here, the voice of Major League Baseball, as well documented just a moment ago. AL East started off.
New York Yankees. Yankees win the division. I think they're going to be a really formidable team. Obviously, the biggest get that they got was they got to re-sign Aaron Judge, and that was the one that they needed more than anybody else. So the minute they signed him, that was the perfect thing that they needed it to do. That set them up for what they're going to do this upcoming year. To get him at the number one spot was key. They made some really good moves, especially during the offseason. Now, there are some concerns. And I will, I didn't want to allude to him earlier with the World Baseball Classic thing because I didn't hear any negative from that particular individual. So I'm not going to go there, but I will say this. That Yankee Messiah that Michael Bullock was alluding to, he even said, I think the one thing that he's kind of more concerned about was there's some positional spots that he does have concern, which is very valid. I think what he is saying is absolutely right. I think shortstop and second base might be a little bit of a liability this year, and that could cause a little concern. However, with the major bats that they got, as long as they stay healthy, that's the key for the New York Yankees. As long as they stay healthy, they are a formidable team that could not only win the division, but make a deep run. And that's the one thing that we always talk about. You know, with the New York Yankees, it's World Series or bust. We all know that. We all know that. So I believe that the Yankees will win the division, and they'll have no problem with that. When it comes to second place, now I'm a little torn. I want to say Toronto is my second team. Um, I do believe that they're going to be a good team this year. I do believe that they'll turn it around a little bit. You know, they did get a couple of good pieces during the offseason. I just don't know if that's going to be enough for them to really turn it up or to make a legitimate run here. But we'll wait and see. Third, I got to say, has to be the Rays. I kind of feel like right now they're kind of in that little bit of a win now transition of a situation where they could either A, make the playoffs, or B, miss out, but be competitive enough, but not that great. But we'll see. Fourth, now I'm really torn. I think it's going to be the Boston Red Sox. I think the Red Sox will be fourth. I just don't see enough there for Boston. I think they'll have some good moments, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a thing. They're going to make that much noise, especially this season. I am interested in the new Japanese player that they did get from who really shined in the WBC. Michael Bullock alluded to it.
Masataka Yoshida.
Masataka. I think he's going to do pretty well, and especially if he gets the way that he was, especially hitting that baseball, he was struggling a little bit early in the tournament, but he really found his form, especially towards the end of the tournament, and especially in the semifinal and the final. He really started to break through. If he keeps that momentum going, Boston, you got yourself a gold mine coming up. And then, of course, last place, I believe, will be the Baltimore Orioles. I kind of feel like they're right there, but they still got some ways to go. And I think they're going to struggle here at the end. They're going to make some games competitive, but it's the Orioles. I just don't think that they're going to be – I don't see them making a monster run here. So that's my AL East. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Boy, this is tough. I mean, look, I gotta go with the New York Yankees to win the division. Look, they re-signed Aaron Judge. They brought in Carlos Rodon, and yes, there are some concerns, but I just feel that the Yankees can overcome this. And now, as far as second place, I gotta go with the Toronto Blue Jays. Because, they did make some nice additions, and I think they can make this competitive with the New York Yankees. Now, the thing is, can they stay healthy? Now, if they stay healthy for an entire season, then I don't know. I think maybe the Blue Jays can win the division. But I think for right now, I think the health, is going to be the main thing that is the difference between them winning the division and not winning the division. So, Blue Jays second. Third, I got to go with the Tampa Bay Rays. Because you know somehow they're going to find a way to be in it, especially with what Kevin Cash has done. Now, as far as fourth place, I don't know. I got to go with the Baltimore Orioles because here's the thing, guys. The second half of that season, Baltimore, they made a charge, and for a moment I thought it looked like they were going to make the playoffs, but somehow, they fell short, so I got to go with the Baltimore Orioles finishing fourth. And then, of course, last place, unfortunately, I got to go with the Red Sox. Yes, they did make some additions, but I think the key here is that how is Kike Hernandez going to do filling in the spot of Xander Bogaerts? That's going to be the main question. And, of course, their pitching staff. That's going to be the question mark of them. So, Yankees first, Blue Jays second, Rays third, Orioles fourth, Red Sox last place. Flory, what's yours?
All right. It's still the Yankees to lose, as Carlos Rodon's acquisition and DJ LeMahieu's health might be even more significant than retaining home run king Aaron Judge. The Blue Jays have been steady in their progress, and now might be the time. A year ago, they won one more game to reach the playoffs. Now it's win two more and get past the wild card round into the main draw. Though slowed by an oblique injury, Tyler Glasnow's shutdown ability will make the Rays a far more daunting October opponent. The Red Sox's stagnant 2022 culminated with the loss of Xander Bogaerts. They should be more focused this year, but may not have enough pitching. Regardless, and the Orioles' wave of young talent is landing, but progress isn't always linear, and this could be a year of mild regression before the club really starts to cook. So I got the Yankees winning the AL East. I got Toronto finishing second and getting a wild card spot. Tampa Bay finishing third, also getting a wild card spot. I got Boston finishing fourth, and I got Baltimore finishing last. So with that, we move on to the AL Central. And Michael Bullock, we'll start it off with you. Who do you like in the Central?
All right. I mean, as far as when it comes to the Central, I mean, it was Cleveland who won it last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, somehow, I mean, this Cleveland team, I mean, they surprised the heck out of everybody, and they got into the postseason last year, and I just think with the group that they have, especially with Jose Ramirez, I just think that excuse me. I think they can win this division yet again. So we'll wait and see how that goes. So I got the Cleveland Indians finishing in first place. Now, as far as second place goes, man, this is tough. I mean, obviously, I got to go with I'm gonna go with the White Sox finishing in second place, and then I got the let's see who else. Yeah, I got the Minnesota Twins finishing in third place, the Detroit Tigers in fourth place, and Kansas City in last place. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right. I got Cleveland. I got Cleveland winning the division, and that's it. I don't have any other team coming out of the division. I have a bit of a tie between Minnesota and Chicago for second, but I'm going to give a slight edge to Minnesota. Chicago third. I got Detroit finishing fourth and Kansas City in fifth. And here's the reasoning. Are the Guardians quietly building a post-Lindor mini dynasty? It seems like it, as they embark on a 2-year window in which Shane Bieber will still front their rotation. Dylan Cease might win the AL Cy Young Award. Keep an eye out on him. But the White Sox's hopes hinge on Lucas Giolito returning to form in his final year before free agency and Mike Clevenger proving viable after skirting punishment from MLB. Will Joey Gallo and Max Kepler get a big boost from the shift ban? The Twins hope so, and that they can piece together enough pitching to contend. In Miguel Cabrera's swan song, injuries to pitchers Casey Mize and Tariq Skubal will hinder the Tigers, but their young hitters leveling up. Riley Green, all-star. Spencer Torkelson, consistent power threat. Kerry Carpenter, surprise star, would represent big progress. The baton has been passed to a crop of promising young hitters led by Bobby Witt Jr. But the Royals have not seen their pitching develop in lockstep. Can Zach Greinke and Jordan Lyles eat quality innings? I don't know. We'll wait and find out. So with that, I got Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians I know it's so hard. It's going to take a long time for us to get used to calling them the Guardians instead of the Indians, because they were the Indians for so long. But it's the Guardians. Cleveland Guardians win the AL Central. That's it. I don't have any other team coming out of it. Minnesota second, Chicago third, although you could easily flip that around if you wanted. Detroit fourth, Kansas City fifth. That's my AL Central. So, MF, your thoughts on the AL Central?
Yeah, first off, I got Minnesota actually winning the division. Slight disagreement with you, Anthony. I got Cleveland coming out second and getting one of the wild card spots. I believe they'll get it. I got the Chicago White Sox third, Detroit Tigers fourth, and I got the Kansas City Royals in dead last. So that's my predictions. There's really nothing else for me to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we move on to the American League West, and I'll lay it out there. I think this is the easiest call of them all. Houston Astros obviously will win the division once again. After all, they are the defending World Series champions. I got the Seattle Mariners finishing second and getting the final wild card spot. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim finished third. The Texas Rangers finished fourth, and the Oakland Athletics finished dead last. Let's get into the West. Lest we forget, the Astros won 96 games in 2021 without Justin Verlander. If young starter Hunter Brown comes anywhere near expectations, they should cross the century mark again. Even if they finish up the track in the division, the Mariners have few holes in the sort of power arms Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, Robbie Ray to establish them as a perennially live wild card. If this is it for Shohei Ohtani in Anaheim, it behooves the Angels to start quickly. 13 of their first 26 games are against the A's, Royals, and Nationals. Are the Rangers a juggernaut in waiting, or a gaudy collection of museum pieces? It'll be fascinating to watch Bruce Bochy aim to convert this collection of talent into a team. Might as well look it up now. Most losses by an Oakland A's team in Oakland was 108 in Rickey Henderson's debut season of 1979. So I got Houston winning the West. Seattle finishes second, gets the last wild card spot. I have the LA Angels of Anaheim third, Texas fourth, and I got Oakland in the basement. So not much more to say here. MF, AL West.
Agreed with everything you just said. I got Houston winning the division. I got Seattle getting the wild card. The Angels is third. Rangers are fourth. And Oakland is fifth. Oh, by the way, just to clarify one other thing, because I never did, I also have the Toronto Blue Jays as the third and final wild card. So so the division winners I have are the Yankees, the Twins, and Houston, with the wild cards going with the three wild cards going to Toronto, to Cleveland, and to Seattle. Those are my picks. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Houston Astros finishing in first place. I got the Seattle Mariners finishing in second and getting the other wild card spot. I also got Toronto I got Toronto with the other wild card and the Tampa Bay Rays as well. So, well, back to this. Obviously, like I said, Houston finishes in first place. Seattle finishes in second. I got Oakland finishing dead last, and of course, well, I got Texas finishing in fourth place, and I got the Angels finishing in third place, Texas finishing in fourth, and Oakland finishing dead last. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's time to shift on to the National League.
And we started off with the National League East, and it's only fitting that good old MF Michael Fletcher starts it off. This is his division after all. So, OMF. Let's see. Edwin Diaz, star closer of the Mets, done for the year after that horrific injury in the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
And our defending National League champion Phillies are going to be without their two biggest bats, Bryce Harper and now Rhys Hoskins, after today.
Yeah. and that shifts everything. What looked like it was going to be a close fight now has opened up, and I think many people believe the Atlanta Braves now will win the National League East yet again. It'll be 6 in a row for them, and not only that, but they also added some depth to their team as well, getting Sean Murphy. As the new catcher. And then, of course, they've been locking up all of the core guys for a number of years. So this is one of those where it could go a number of ways. As if Ronald Acuna comes back to his MVP level, along with Matt Olson, uh, uh, Austin Riley, Michael Harris Jr., Sean Murphy, and a version of Eddie. And if Eddie Rosario comes back as gangbusters. The only thing that you kind of have to worry about is their pitching. But when you got a core crew, and now you also got Joaquin Iglesias as now the closer. Unfortunately, he's going to start on the DL, but he's only going to be there. I think he's on the 10-day DL, which it's going to hurt early in the year. But you got so many good arms with the Atlanta Braves. Braves will win the division. They will get it. Second will be the New York Mets. Yes, they did lose a major piece in their bullpen with Edwin Diaz going down, but I do believe that they're going to be fine. The Rhys Hoskins injury is going to be devastating for Philly. That's really going to hurt them. They'll come in third. Miami will be fourth. Washington will be fifth. Braves win the division. Mets, wild card. Phillies, wild card. Miami and the Nationals. That's how I got the NL East. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Atlanta Braves now winning the division here. I mean, especially now. I mean, with you got Michael Harris coming back, you still got Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, and of course that pitching staffs that could really help them out. The Mets are going to finish second, and I think they'll get one of the one of the wild card spots. Yes, the Rhys Hoskins injury really hurt them, but I think when they get Bryce Harper back, I think it'll turn things around for them. They'll finish third and get the other wild card spot. And then I got the Miami Marlins in fourth place, and then the Washington Nationals in last place. So it's yours, Florio.
I have it exactly. I have the Atlanta Braves winning the NL East. I got the New York Mets finishing second and getting a wild card spot. Philadelphia Phillies, your reigning defending National League champions, finishing third and getting another wild card spot. Miami Marlins finishing fourth, and the Washington Nationals in the basement. It's not just that the window never closes for the Braves. It just seems likely every player is forever in their prime. The Sean Murphy trade resets the lineup, and new steals-friendly rules will make Michael Harris II, Ozzie Albies, and Ronald Acuna Jr. even more dynamic. Steve Cohen did not unload a small fraction of his billions to produce another 100-win wildcard team, but that scenario is very much in play again for the Mets. Steadying the back end of the rotation with Taijuan Walker should help mitigate Bryce Harper's absence until roughly midseason, and it would be startling if the Phillies did not join the Braves and the Mets in the postseason. Dealing Pablo Lopez for AL batting champ Luis Arias should help balance the Marlins a bit. Perhaps new hitting coach Brant Brown will aid in the final development of young hitters, a vexing problem in Miami. The Nationals roster is once again unappealing, but solidifying future pieces such as shortstop C.J. Abrams and starters Cade Cavalli and Mackenzie Gore would represent progress amid what figures to be another trying season. So I have it exactly as MF has it, and I think Bullock did as well. I have the Braves winning the division. I got the Mets and Phillies with the wild card spots. Mets second, Phillies third, Marlins fourth, Nationals last. So with that, we move on to the National League Central. And Michael Bullock, you started off. National League Central, who you got?
Yeah, this is trying to remember who won it last year.
I think it was
St.
St. Louis. Yeah, St.
Yeah.
Louis won it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think St. Louis won the division, and I mean that's the way I see them basically. Yeah, I do see them winning the division again. I mean, I just think that they're much better. And then of course, when it comes to second place, I got the Milwaukee Brewers. Uh, third place, I got the Cincinnati Reds. I got the Pittsburgh Pirates in fourth, and the Chicago Cubs in dead last. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. NL Central, as far as my scorecard is concerned, I have the St. Louis Cardinals winning the NL Central once again. I got the Milwaukee Brewers finishing second. I actually have the Cubs finishing third. I got the Reds finishing fourth, and I got the Pirates finishing last. NL Central, the Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt 1-2 punch will always inspire awe. But the most important Cardinals figure to be pitchers Adam Wainwright and Jack Flaherty, whose battles against age and health issues, respectively, should shape the arc of their season. The Brewers finished a game out of the playoffs last year, but their margin seems thinner every season, relying on bounce-backs Jesse Winker and young hitters finding their footing. Garrett Mitchell further clouds the equation. Can the Cubs, spurred by MF's old friend Dansby Swanson and Jameson Taillon, my old friend Jameson Taillon, sniff contention? A strange transitional year as they stumble out of an odd retooling seems inevitable. The Reds may yet see the 1-2 spots in their rotation solidify thanks to Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, but the fall-offs in both lineup and rotation at the back end are precipitous. Shortstop O'Neal Cruz was 6 years old when Rich Hill made his big league debut. Now 43, Hill finds himself in the middle of another odd pirate stew of recycled veterans and hope he's a keeper types. So not much more to say. St. Louis wins the Central, and they're the only team I have coming out of that division. Milwaukee finishes second. I got the Cubs in third, Cincinnati 4, and Pittsburgh rounds it out. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on the NL Central?
Partial disagreement with everybody, but I do agree the top two is St. Louis and Milwaukee. I got that. Third, I have Chicago in third. I got the Pirates fourth, and I got the Cincinnati Reds in dead last. So that was my prediction. Anthony, you're completely correct. No wild card coming out of this division. Let's just move on to the NL West.
Our final division, NL West, and anyone as I unveil it. I have, of course, the LA Dodgers winning it once again. I have the San Diego Padres finishing second and getting the last wild card spot in the National League. I have San Francisco finishing third. I got Arizona in fourth, and I got Colorado in the basement. Will the Dodgers allay the concerns arising after a too quiet offseason followed by the loss of expected glue guy Gavin Lux to a torn ACL? Or is this finally the year they played it too cool? The Padres' run to the NLCS was fun, surprising, and delirious. Adding Bullock's old friend Xander Bogaerts suddenly makes them imposing, dangerous, World Serious, if you will. No Aaron Judge, no Carlos Correa, and still lots of good seats available in China Basin. Yet will the Giants rediscover their 2021 platoon mojo and get the thump they need from Michael Conforto and Mitch Haniger? The Diamondbacks are now so underrated that they risk being overrated. At the least, they'll be fun to watch in a fringe wildcard contender. How soon will Zach Veen arrive in Denver, and can he reinvigorate the Rockies? Only time will tell. So, Dodgers win the division again. I got the Padres second in the final wildcard team. San Francisco is third. Arizona 4. Colorado last. MF NL West.
All right. Well, first off, I disagree. I actually got the San Diego Padres winning the division. I got them winning the division because of the fact that not only will they have the batting, but they do have the pitching. I do believe the Dodgers might have finally done it. and I think they're going to fall a little bit short this time around. They will get second place. They will get the wild card. That is definitely where they're going to go. I got the Diamondbacks third, the Giants fourth, and Colorado in dead last. So that is my predictions. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with I'm actually gonna go with the Dodgers to finish in first place and win the division. I got the Padres finishing second and getting the other wild card. Third place will be the Arizona Diamondbacks. Fourth place will be the San Francisco Giants, and dead last will be the Colorado Rockies. So nothing more to say. Florio, let's move on to our preview of the XFL Week 6.
I think we're
Florio, are
just
you
waiting
there?
for it. No, I think we're just waiting for him to unmute. I think it might have froze on him. So let's see if it does. But I do have it just in case. I do have the matchups, so just give me a second. All right. Let's see. All right. So we're just waiting on Anthony to get back. If he does, then he can start the preview for the XFL. I think what it is, it's probably just either something just froze on his end and he's just maybe waiting for it to unfreeze, and everything else. But with that said, let's dive right on in. So the next thing that we do have is.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm here.
All right. You're good. You're good.
The frozen.
Did it freeze? Yep. I knew it. Okay.
So, yeah, I got to get everything squared away here. So, all right. All right. Before I was so rudely interrupted, let's get into week number 6 of the XFL, which is going to include a rarity, a Monday night game, if you can believe that. We've had a couple of Thursday night games. I mean, we're all so used to seeing these games on Saturday and Sunday, but oh no, we have a Monday night game, and it's the game of the week. Go figure that. So, all right. So, if everything's up to snuff here, all right. The XFL heads into week 6 of the 2023 season, and we've got the breakdown of the games this weekend, and yes, on Monday night. Hard to believe. So, all right. We started off with what will be the what will, without a doubt, be the Zonk game of the week here, and all right. Just give me one moment here. Okay. Definitely a lot of big surprises. Definitely had a surprise when it comes to one of the games last week, and we've had a changing of the guard when it comes to the XFL. We had a surprising changing of the guard here, which is going to be a surprise to a lot of folks here. So just give me a moment here as I get everything in order. And I was expecting a lot more here, but all right. All right. So we started off with so according to what I see here, we have, it looks like 2 Saturday games. Yep, we got 2 Saturday games. We have a Sunday game, and we have a Monday game. So that's all there is to say on that. So, all right, here we go. Yeah, that frozen thing definitely messed me up here. All right. We are officially past the halfway point in the XFL regular season, and the playoff picture is starting to take shape heading into week 6. Last week, we surprisingly saw the under hit in 2 of the 4 games, and 2 underdogs win outright. The biggest upset win was the Seattle Sea Dragons, taking down the formerly undefeated Houston Roughnecks 21-14 at Lumen Field. Despite quarterback Ben DiNucci throwing 3 interceptions, Houston couldn't get anything going on offense and lost standout wide receiver John Trey Kirkland to a season-ending chest injury. Week 6 action begins with a doubleheader on Saturday, starting with the Sea Dragons going on the road to play the Guardians at 1 o'clock on ABC, who are still searching for their first win this season. After that, at 7 p.m. on FX, the St. Louis Battlehawks will hit the road and take on the Vegas Vipers, who picked up their first win last week in a highly entertaining Zonk game of the week against Orlando. Then on Sunday afternoon, we will see a rematch between the San Antonio Brahmas and Arlington Renegades at 3 o'clock on ABC. And finally, in the game of the week, the Houston Roughnecks will look to bounce back against the DC Defenders Monday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN2 to wrap up another exciting week in the XFL. So let's start it off with our first game of the week, which will take place at 1 o'clock Eastern, Saturday afternoon on ABC, as it will feature, as this will be the Zonk game of the week, mind you. As it will feature the Seattle Sea Dragons squaring off against the Orlando Guardians from the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff on ABC on Saturday afternoon. And just waiting for my announcer sheet to load here. I don't know if they have this one in particular. We'll see if they do. This thing is getting to me again. All right. I'll say it like this. Seattle is opening up as I believe Seattle has the spread here. Oh, hold on. I see something. All right. No, I don't see the announcers for this one. So just have to wing it, I guess. All right. Let's try that again. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know where it is now. All right. All right. Started off with the Seattle Sea Dragons and the Orlando Guardians at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. And it is Seattle opening up as favorite. I think I led off on the end of the baseball preview, so I think MF will get the first round at this one. So MF, Zonk game of the week, Seattle and Orlando. Well, say what you want about Orlando, but last week, without a doubt, their best performance, but they came up just a little bit short against the Vegas Vipers in a very entertaining Zonk game of the week. Go figure.
Yeah, very entertaining game, but now you're going up against the Sea Dragons, who's been really pushing it lately. They've been playing really good football lately. They've really turned things around. Like you said, not the greatest performance that they had, but now all of a sudden they've turned it around. Winners of 3 in a row, including knocking off Houston. They got some momentum going. They got the good mojo going. I think it's going to be 4 in a row. So give me the Seattle Sea Dragons to knock off the Orlando Guardians and push the Guardians to 0-6 on the year. Seattle should win this one. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Oh, who would you have, Fletch?
I got Seattle winning.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Seattle winning this one as well, so it's yours, Florio.
All right. Seattle has been one of the hottest teams in the XFL recently, winning 3 straight games after starting the season 0-2. The Sea Dragons took down the Houston Roughnecks last week at home, despite Ben DiNucci continuing to struggle with his turnover issues, he'll try to fix that against the Guardians, who are coming off a hard-fought loss last week where they played all three quarterbacks, Paxton Lynch, Quentin Dormady, and Quentin Flowers, and just came up short. Dormady brought a spark to the Guardians' passing game, completing 22 of 25 passes for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dormady could get the start this week as he's listed as QB1 on the depth chart. However, it might not matter who is starting for the Guardians, as their offensive line has struggled through the first 5 weeks, allowing 21 sacks, most in the XFL. That's not a good recipe for success against the Sea Dragons defense that held the Roughnecks scoreless for 3 quarters and made life tough for Brandon Silvers, 3 sacks and a pick. If DiNucci doesn't turn over the football on Saturday, the Sea Dragons should score a lot of points against the Guardians defense that has allowed a league-high 152 this season. Look out for Josh Gordon and Ja'Cour Pearson to make big plays against this Orlando secondary. Seattle wins. My final score, 24-15. Next up, the other half of the Saturday doubleheader, 7 p.m. Eastern over on FX. It'll be the St. Louis Battlehawks squaring off against the Vegas Vipers from Cashman Field in Las Vegas. St. Louis opening up as a 3-point favorite. Michael Bullock, you started off. St. Louis and Vegas. Who you got?
Yeah, I think this should be a really good game here, but yeah, I got. You said Seattle's a 3-point favorite, right?
The Battlehawks, St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis. Yeah. Yeah, St. Louis is the favorite here. I mean, I think this should be a good one, but I think in the end, I think St. Louis will hang on to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. St. Louis is coming off a tough loss at home last week to the DC Defenders, where it got gashed by Defenders running back Abram Smith, who had 218 yards and 3 touchdowns on 23 carries. However, the Battlehawks defense should fare better against the Vipers running game that has struggled to take off this season. The Battlehawks offensive line struggled to protect quarterback A.J. McCarron in last week's loss to the Defenders, as he was sacked 5 times. The Vipers had 4 sacks in last week's win over the Guardians, but they gave up 32 points as well to an inconsistent offense. If St. Louis offensive line can protect McCarron, he should be able to find Hakeem Butler, Austin Prohl, and Darius Shepard. As for Vegas, Luis Perez had his best game this season against Orlando, completing 20 of 28 passes for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of his 3 touchdown passes went to speedy wide receiver Jeff Bidet, who had 5 receptions for 80 yards. We should expect to see a lot of points put on the board, but the Battlehawks have the edge. I got the St. Louis Battlehawks winning this game. My final score, 28-24. St. Louis bounces back from that gut-wrenching loss. MF, oh boy, what a gut-wrenching loss that was to DC at the Dome in America's Center. What a game.
Yeah, what a game. But a heartbreaking loss, like you said. But I do believe that the Battlehawks will bounce back as well. I do believe A.J. McCarron will turn it around and have a pretty good game. Like you said, as long as that offensive line can keep them upright, I think McCarron has proven himself that he's become a pretty good that he is a pretty good quarterback still after all these years. So I got A.J. McCarron and I got the Battlehawks winning this game. Anthony, it's yours.
Well, I got some breaking news from college basketball here. It's looking very likely like the number 9 seed in the East region, the Florida Atlantic Owls, are heading to the regional final. It looks like they're going to be
wow.
Yeah, because they lead 62-55 against Tennessee in Madison Square Garden. 4.8 seconds left.
Oh, it's game. That's game.
It's looking very likely like Florida Atlantic is going to head to the regional final against Kansas State. Yeah, who had that in their bracket?
No one.
Let's be realistic. So, but there you go. It's just it's moments. It looks like it's going to be a final here, guys. So that's what it's looking like here. It's the referees, reviewing a play. We've seen a lot of this tonight. A lot of reviews, a lot of questionable, controversial calls, if you will. So that's really all there. That's really all it is. So all right. Yep. So 62-55 with about 4.8 seconds left. But with the way the rematch is going, Gonzaga and UCLA, yeah, I think you're going to be turning the mic over to me when it comes to the bonus commentary, because this is my game. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun with this one, boy. Let me tell you. So, all right. Okay. So, yep. All right. So it looks like everything is up to snuff here. Yeah, my thing acted weird on me again. So, all right. All right. Tennessee inbounding, and they're not even going to bother. That's it, guys. It's over. Florida Atlantic is moving on. So we got Florida Atlantic and Kansas State in the East Regional Final that will take place on Saturday. So so there you have it. All right. So and yep, first time in school history for Florida Atlantic. So congratulations to them. They defeat Tennessee 62-55. Florida Atlantic, Kansas State regional final in Madison Square Garden on Saturday. All right. And now we're going to keep our eye on the rematch of the epic Final Four game from 2 years ago. One of the greatest screaming Michael Fletcher moments of all time. Go back and relive it. Gonzaga and UCLA. We'll get to bonus commentary in just in a few minutes, but let's finish this preview off first. All right. So with that, I believe everybody went on that one. So let's move on to the lone Sunday game of the XFL schedule this week. Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. over on ABC. It'll be the San Antonio Brahmas squaring off against the Arlington Renegades at Choctaw Stadium, formerly the ballpark in Arlington, Texas, the old home of the Texas Rangers. Arlington opening up as a 3-point favorite, and it's a back-to-back. You rarely see this you don't even ever see this in football. Same two teams back-to-back weeks, unless there's a bye thrown in. Maybe that's the closest we get to that, but no, we got it right here. These two teams played each other just last week at the Alamo Dome when the Renegades squeaked out a 12-10 win. Arlington is shockingly 3-2 this season, despite their offense struggling to score points. Only 5 total touchdowns, fewest in the league. However, they have a tremendous defense that doesn't make a ton of mistakes and forces offenses into plenty of their own. Last week, the Renegades defense forced quarterbacks Reed Sinnett and Jack Cohn into 3 interceptions, helping them escape with a win. Sinnett started last week and was solid under center, completing 13 of 19 passes for 97 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. However, he suffered a broken foot, ending his season. This week, we could see Cohn and Jawan Pass, who's been inactive for most of the regular season. If you are a Brahmas fan, you hope Pass gets some playing time because this offense only has 3 completions of 20 or more passing yards this season in 153 attempts. Nevertheless, both defenses should play well to give their starting quarterbacks a chance to win on Sunday afternoon. Ultimately, I like Arlington to win. So I'm going to say Arlington does it again. Final score, 18-16. Arlington defeats San Antonio. So not much more to say. MF, back-to-back. Same two teams in back-to-back weeks. This has got to be a first.
Yeah, this is a first. I don't think it's ever happened. Even in the years of the XFL or even in USFL or any other league, I don't think I've ever seen a schedule where two teams who battled it out the previous week is battling it out again. I don't think it ever happens, but here it is. Sometimes you get the back-to-back like in like the NHL, or you get a back-to-back in the NBA, where we've had that happen a few times in the history, but not in the XFL or not in football in general. So yeah, but I'm with you. I'm gonna go with the Renegades as well. I think they're gonna win the game. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm going with the Renegades as well. So there's nothing more to say. Let's move on.
All right, and now we move on to the game of the week in the XFL. And, well, Monday Night Football, XFL style, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. and it features the two best teams in what could be a preview of the XFL championship game. The Houston Roughnecks and the DC Defenders, Audi Field in Washington, D.C. DC Defenders opening up as 2.5-point favorites. MF, a Monday night XFL game, and go figure, it's the game of the week in a game that, as of now, could be perhaps an early preview of the championship game on May 13th in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome.
It could. Yeah, very much so. These are the two best teams right now in the XFL. The Roughnecks and the Defenders, and they've been playing like that too. So this has been an amazing way, an amazing run, and I think it's going to be very interesting to watch and see how it plays out. But honestly, I gotta go with the DC Defenders. They're really good at home. They've been dominating all year. They love playing at home. And as a matter of fact, even when they were playing a couple of years ago in the last iteration of the XFL, I don't think they've ever lost. I think they're undefeated at home. So I think that undefeated streak will continue and give me the DC Defenders to win yet again. The beer snake will be out in full force. Dude, I am loving DC, man. They kind of got that Michael Fletcher attitude. I'm really starting to like DC. I think that they're slowly becoming my team. So DC wins it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going with DC as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Wario.
In the last game for Week 6, we have an outstanding matchup between the two best teams in the league. Houston is looking to bounce back after being stymied by Seattle last week. The Roughnecks should get back on track, but will have to do it without Jontre Kirkland, their second best wide receiver behind Deontay Burnett. This will be an excellent test for Greg Williams' aggressive and opportunistic defense. Defenders cornerback Michael Joseph will be a player to look out for in this game, as he's tied with Roughnecks cornerback Ajeen Harris in interceptions with 4. The Defenders will look to continue to play smash-mouth football. That's obviously why MF likes this team now. On the ground, but the Roughnecks front 7 is good and has allowed just 76 points this season. Even though both the offenses are explosive, the defenses will step up in this contest. But I disagree with you guys. I'm actually going to go with Houston to steal one here. I think Houston can get it done. If any team can, break through in DC, I think the Houston Roughnecks, my team, is the team to do it. So I'm going with Houston to win this game, 21-18. So that's all there is to say on that. Now we go to college basketball. All right. Before we get to the bonus commentary, which we know there's going to be some in just a little bit, Gonzaga and UCLA are tied at 61 with just over 6 minutes to go. Well, Gonzaga just took the lead. 63-61 Gonzaga with over 6 minutes to go. Every time these two teams get together in the NCAA tournament, magic always happens, and we're on our way to another magical game here, guys. So, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So, man, what a finish we got coming up. But we have 3 big coaching carousel moves in college basketball. It's not often we talk about it, but we got it here. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Big East teams have new head coaches. And all 3 of these Big East teams are Big East originals. St. John's, Georgetown, and now Providence. So let's start it off. We're going to make this a rare 3-for-1 deal here. And we started off with, of course, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Also controversial at times, yes, but you can't deny it. He is one of the greatest of all time. Rick Pitino is now the new head coach of the St. John's Red Storm. As soon as this loads up here. Gonzaga has now added to their lead. It's now 65-61. All right. So let's break it down. The legendary Rick Pitino, who took two different teams to national championships, that being Kentucky and, of course, Louisville. He's back in the Big East. Of course, we all remember Rick Pitino worked with, of course, he was the head coach of Providence. Y'all remember that? So, all right, here we go. All right. There was a video banner above the entrance to Madison Square Garden on Tuesday that read, "Welcome Rick Pitino." More like welcome back for the new St. John's coach. Back to the Garden where he once coached the Knicks. Back to the Big East, the conference that launched his stardom and where he won his most recent national championship with Louisville in 2013. Back to big-time college basketball after a series of scandals made it seem as if that part of his career was over. St. John's gave the Hall of Famer a 6-year contract to turn back the clock on a program that once stole New York City tabloid headlines away from the Knicks in the 1980s under coach Lou Carnesecca, but has been mired in mediocrity for more than 2 decades. The Red Storm once played most of their biggest home games at the Garden. Pitino said the goal is to have all their Big East games played there going forward. Pitino, born in New York City, grew up on Long Island, won 832 games and 34 full seasons as a college head coach, including NCAA, including national championships at Kentucky in 1996 and Louisville in 2013. The title at Louisville was vacated because of NCAA violations, and another case related to the FBI's investigation into corruption in college basketball recruiting led to Pitino being fired by Louisville in 2017. The final ruling from the outside enforcement arm on the FBI case came out in November and exonerated Pitino. There was also a criminal extortion case in which Pitino was the victim during his time at Louisville that revealed personal indiscretions. And Lou Carnesecca, at 98 years old, sat in the front row of Pitino's news conference. And you know what Lou Carnesecca said? "I think it's a home run with the bases loaded." Grand slam home run. Carnesecca was one of the Big East's brightest coaching stars, along with Georgetown's John Thompson and Villanova's Raleigh Massimino, when Pitino became Providence head coach in 1985 at the age of 32. 38 years later, Pitino's Providence ties helped him land at St. John's after 3 seasons at Iona, a small Catholic school in New Rochelle, just north of New York City. Pitino said he's bringing his entire staff with him from Iona, which earlier in the day announced the hiring of Fairleigh Dickinson coach Tobin Anderson to replace Pitino. You remember Tobin Anderson, he took Fairleigh Dickinson to the upset of the tournament, the 16-1 over Purdue last week. And Pitino will try to become the first coach to take 6 different schools to the NCAA tournament as he gets one more shot on the big stage. So that's the Rick Pitino story. Next, Firetown, unfortunately, we lost our man. Ed Cooley has left. He will now be the new head coach at Georgetown. Of course, Georgetown recently fired Patrick Ewing, as we all know. And Georgetown has named Ed Cooley as Georgetown's new head coach. The school announced on Monday. The Cooley hire marks a significant upgrade from the doldrums Georgetown's program endured under Patrick Ewing, which included a 29-game conference losing streak and a 13-50 record the last 2 seasons. Georgetown's targeting and landing a Big East rival represents a significant coup, as Cooley consistently overachieved at Providence. He reached the NCAA tournament in 7 of the last 9 years it was held, and that run included a Big East regular season championship last season. Georgetown has reached the NCAA tournament in just 1 of the last 7 years that it has been held, and the school extended Ewing after he clinched his lone NCAA bid by winning the Big East tournament in a year that it finished 13-13. Georgetown hasn't finished with a winning record in the Big East since 2014-15. Considering Georgetown's location in the middle of Washington, D.C., arguably the best basketball city in the country, the upside of the program is considered higher than Providence's. The Hoyas have reached 5 Final Fours in program history and won the national championship in 1984. Cooley will be tasked with those types of expectations after a successful run at Providence, where he went 242 and 153 over 12 seasons. Providence said it will begin a search for a new head coach following Cooley's departure, although we finally now have the guy to replace him in just a moment. Cooley was pursued for other jobs in the past, most notably Michigan in 2019, when the Wolverines ultimately hired Juwan Howard. He withdrew from consideration for the job after conversations with Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel, returning to Providence on a multi-year contract extension. Providence officials went to great lengths to attempt to keep Cooley again this time, with sources saying he was offered a long-term deal with a pay raise. Cooley, Providence native, spent his entire coaching career in New England, started as an assistant coach at UMass Dartmouth, then Stonehill College, his alma mater. He then spent a year as an assistant coach at URI before following Al Skinner to Boston College for a decade as his assistant. His first head coaching job came at Fairfield, where he led the Stags to a MAAC regular season title in 2011 before being hired at his hometown school to replace Keno Davis. In 12 seasons with the Friars, Cooley won the Big East Conference tournament in 2014, led to the program's second tournament title in its history. This season, Providence started 14-3 overall and 6-0 in conference play before struggling down the stretch en route to a first-round tournament exit, losing to Kentucky 61-53. So that's the story when it comes to Ed Cooley. And now we have the replacement for Ed Cooley. We have a new head basketball coach at Providence College, and his name is Kim English. Kim English, the 16th head coach. PC president, Father Kenneth R. Sicard, and athletics director Steve Napolillo announced today the appointment of Kim English as the head men's basketball coach. English becomes the 16th head coach at PC, comes to PC after spending the last 2 seasons as the head coach at George Mason. English, along with new women's basketball head coach Aaron Bath, will be formally introduced at a press conference this Wednesday, March 29th at 11 a.m. in the college's Mulaney Gymnasium at Alumni Hall. In 2 seasons as the head coach at George Mason, English has matched or set Atlantic 10 program bests. During his second campaign this year, the Patriots matched program records for A-10 league victories 11 and A-10 tournament seed 5. George Mason won 6 straight A-10 league games for the first time in school history and 7 straight overall for the first time since 16-17. Patriots reached the 20-win milestone for the first time since 16-17. And also this past season, the Patriots had a school record for 3-point field goal defense, a .301 percentage, which was 17th nationally, and also tallied the best scoring defense at 67.3 points allowed since 2012-13. English began his coaching career as an assistant under Frank Haith at the University of Tulsa in 2015. He spent 2 seasons at Tulsa before being hired by Tad Boyle as an assistant coach at Colorado, where he worked for 2 years. In 2019, former Friar head coach Rick Barnes brought English to Tennessee as an assistant coach. He was an assistant coach in Knoxville until 2021, when he became the head coach at George Mason. So there's the story on that. So all right, where to begin with this? Bullock has already headed out. That's not a. I had a feeling that was going to be the case. So hopefully we'll have him. I don't know when he'll be back. He'll probably be back next Monday. So for Ridiculously Raw, because he's got the big Super Plunge coming up this weekend. We wish him all the best in that. So all right, thoughts on all of this? Well, Rick Pitino in St. John's, that's a tremendous hire. If anybody can get St. John's back to the prominence they once had, I think Rick Pitino is the guy to do it. He's got plenty of Big East experience. You remember, he took PC to the Final Four in 1987. And also, of course, took Louisville to the national championship before it was vacated because of all the controversy surrounding that great team they had in 2013. That was a scary team, let me tell you. And end of an era in Friartown, Ed Cooley, who brought Providence back to prominence after, some so-so years here and there, tournament, or some rare appearances in the tournament here and there. But he got PC basketball back to national prominence, winning the Big East tournament in 2014, leading them to a regular season title last year. Great success, several tournament appearances. I think their most successful run was last year when they went to the Sweet 16, only to lose to eventual national champion Kansas. So, it's a great hire for Georgetown. If he can lead Providence back to prominence, I think he can lead Georgetown back to prominence. Georgetown was one of the most feared teams in the Big East, especially in the 80s, with the late great John Thompson. And then his son, kept that legacy going. They had a couple of great years here and there. And, it sucks to lose Ed Cooley. And, but we wish him the best. It was obvious this was in the best interest for him and his family. I completely understand that. You know, me being the family man I am, MF is, and Bullock is, and you know, we wish Coach Cooley the absolute best, and you know, and the perfect man for the job. I think he can definitely get Georgetown back up and running, back to where they once were. Maybe we'll be talking about them in the tournament next year. But make no mistake about it. When Georgetown comes to the AMP next year, he will get a standing ovation. I guarantee it, because he was a folk hero here in Providence. That's all there is to say on that. And Kim English, I don't know much about the guy, but he it sounded like he had some mild and moderate success at George Mason. So we'll see if he can pick up where Ed Cooley left off. So the best to all the coaches, and well, it looks like we might not be needing that bonus commentary after all, because Gonzaga has opened up a big lead here. 3-pointer on the way. No, it's an air ball. Out of bounds. And it's going to stay with Gonzaga. 72-63. Gonzaga leads UCLA. 124 to go. And MF, barring anything out of the ordinary here, it looks like Gonzaga is on their way to the West Regional Final and a showdown with UConn.
Yeah, that's going to be a good matchup too. So we'll see.
Tony special.
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup, no doubt. Look, I have to be real honest with you. The Rick Pitino to St. John's was the perfect pick. Perfect selection for them and everything else. And I really thought that when I heard about it, I was like, yeah, that'd be great for him to be back in that area. And I know that's going to be a great pickup for St. John's. And I do believe they'll come back and they'll be a viable team next year. As far as the Ed Cooley goes, like I said, the rumors started swirling about a week ago. I know Anthony's like, oh, I didn't hear anything about this. I heard there was some rumors coming out that Cooley and Georgetown was a real thing, and unfortunately, that our worst suspicions were true. Cooley was gonna leave for Georgetown after Patrick Ewing got let go, and that was when everything started. You could say the dominoes started to drop, as they say. As far as the hire for the new basketball coach, English for Providence, like you said, Anthony, don't know much about him. I do know he had pretty good success when it comes to George Mason, but yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people felt like they could have gone a little more longer with their search, because there's a lot of good coaches that probably would be available out there. Unfortunately, Providence felt like this was the guy to do it, and they made their decision. So we'll wait and see how it plays out. But I wish them nothing but the best for all the teams involved. And yeah, the Big East making a lot of noise, especially after their runs in the NCAA tournament, either not making it or, like in the case of Providence, getting bounced out just about a week ago in the first round. So, Florio, what's yours?
Yeah, that was last Friday night in Greensboro, losing to Kentucky in what was, in my opinion, the most intriguing of the first round matchups. And for the most part, it lived up to the hype. And,
oh, yeah, pretty good game.
Yeah, even though Kentucky pulled away at the end. But all right, what a difference a half makes when it comes to Gonzaga and UCLA. At the end of the first half, UCLA led Gonzaga 46-33. Second half, Gonzaga 39-17 in favor of Gonzaga.
Oh,
you want to give me another MF, because I got another stat for you. That UCLA just scored a bucket now. It was their first bucket in over 11 minutes.
That's the scare.
Minutes.
That's the scary thing, and I don't know if UConn can contend with that because of the fact that they got such a shutdown defense. And if Gonzaga does that to UCLA, and we know how good UCLA was, but if they do that to UConn, I don't care who you are. Gonzaga's going to the Final Four.
what a story that would be. I mean,
Mm.
they flew under the radar. I mean, for the last several years, they were always on that 1 or 2 line. I mean, this is the lowest seed they've had in some time. And,
Yeah.
And you remember going into tonight. I mean, this was a rematch of a game that 2 years ago, I believe we went on the record and said it did the impossible when it surpassed Duke and Kentucky from '92 as the greatest tournament game of all time.
Not only that, but the greatest national semifinal game of all time. And I've done a number of Final Four games. I used to do it with you back then. You and I used to do it together.
Yep.
Until I believe it was, I think 2002 is when we broke away. And then I think
it was 03.
2003. And then that's when I broke away. You and I broke away. And basically, I was doing the Final Four with a number of different commentators.
Yep. And that was a counted in the foul moment for UCLA. So let's get into it here. We got 1:14 left. It's 72-66 Gonzaga. Gonzaga with the ball now. And and it looks like it's I think it might have been a blocking foul on UCLA on that one. So Bolton getting it in, and I think it was on their star player Tiger Campbell. It looks like for UCLA, but Gonzaga the 3 seed in the West, UCLA the 2 seed. While we have a moment, let's get into the matchups from earlier tonight. UConn, the number 4 seed in the West, they went up against the number 8 seed Arkansas. It was all UConn, wire to wire, 88-65. UConn knocking off Arkansas. UConn in the regional final for the first time since 2014 when they last won the national championship. The game of the tournament so far in Madison Square Garden. MF was going crazy, but we'll get into that in a minute because play has resumed here. We're under a minute to go. Foul here. All right. It's 74-66 Gonzaga with 52.6 seconds remaining in regulation. But we had the game of the tournament in Madison Square Garden earlier this evening in the East region. The number 3 seed, Kansas State, versus the number 7 seed, Michigan State. Kansas State won the game 98-93 in overtime. What a game it was. MF was freaking out on his Facebook there. I don't blame him. I mean, we all were. What a game. And that was a game worthy of the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. I mean, we've seen 5-star basketball games. We've seen 5-star hockey games, 5-star wrestling matches. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Not just in college, but in the NBA as well. Oh, boy. All right. UCLA scored a bucket, so it's now 74-68, and I think they just got a turnover. They just forced a turnover here, did UCLA, as it looks like the Gonzaga. Oh, boy. That's who was that going to? Smith threw it away. It looks like the referees are conferring, so Kansas State won the game 98-93 in overtime in the Garden. What a game it was. So Kansas State to the regional final for the first time in a long time. And then from there, in the second game in Madison Square Garden, the number 9 seed in the East, the Owls of Florida Atlantic, with the upset. Oh, my, the upset in the immortal words of the late, great Dick Enberg and good old MF Michael Fletcher. Florida Atlantic upsetted Tennessee, the 4 seed, 62-55. So at a little after 6 p.m. on Saturday night on TBS in Madison Square Garden, it will be Florida Atlantic and Kansas State in the East Regional Final. The winner of that game will head to Houston in the Final Four. I'll say it like this. If anybody out there had that as the regional final, wow, you're a genius. That's all I'm going to say. Egg on all our faces. All right, UCLA with the ball and counted in the foul. Uh-oh. Here comes UCLA. Uh-oh. Counted in the foul. It's 74-70. And they have a chance to make this a 1-score game here. Uh-oh. Could we be getting something out of the ordinary here? Oh, boy. Wow. 74-70 now. And this is Jaime Jaquez Jr., 26 points on the night, 45 seconds to go at the line. He got it. It's a one-score game. It's 74-71 Gonzaga. 45 seconds left. Oh man! All right, now we definitely got to get into it. Now here we go. Last game of the night, and UCLA has fouled. Tiger Campbell fouling Bolton of Gonzaga. 41.6 seconds remaining in regulation. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. A 74-71 lead for the Gonzaga Bulldogs against the UCLA Bruins. Third time they've met in the tournament. Actually, I stand corrected. It's Anton Watson at the line for Gonzaga. Oh, he missed it. Uh-oh, he missed it. Missed the first, but he gets a second. Third time these two teams have met in the NCAA tournament. The previous two instant classics, two of the greatest tournament games of all time. UCLA defeating Gonzaga in 2006. Oh, unique bounce on that one. I think he might have been going for an intentional miss there, but it went in. So, all right, 75-71. UCLA driving to the bucket, and he scores. Jaquez makes it 75-73, 33.7. Trying to break away. Did he get fouled here? No, he hasn't. Now he does. Or is it a timeout? A timeout was called. Okay, Gonzaga calls timeout. 25.8 seconds left. 75-73. Gonzaga leading UCLA. MF, what is it about these two teams in the tournament? My goodness. Every time Gonzaga and UCLA get together, it's always a five-star classic. Unbelievable. I mean, they had a five-star game in 2006 at the old Oracle Arena in Oakland, the old home of the Warriors. And then, of course, 2 years ago, Lucas Oil Stadium in the Final Four. The greatest Final Four game, the greatest tournament game, surpassing what many thought would forever be the greatest game, 1992, Duke and Kentucky at the old Spectrum in Philadelphia when Duke won 104-103 in overtime. The infamous Hill the Leitner puts it up, yes, in the immortal words of Vern Lundquist. So, and MF, one of MF's first screaming Michael Fletcher moments. But, all right. Gonzaga ball with the possession arrow favors Gonzaga. So 25.8 seconds left, 75-73. Winner gets the UConn Huskies in the regional final on Saturday night. It will be the second game of the Saturday night doubleheader on TBS. And who knows, maybe because we are doing a special show on Saturday night, maybe there could be some bonus coverage of that game. You never know. So we'll have to wait and find out. But yeah, this is the last game of the night. While we have a moment, we'll set the table for tomorrow night's action. It'll start at 6:30 on TBS with South Region action. The number 5 seed San Diego State squares off against number 1 overall seed Alabama. 7:15 on CBS. MF, you'll have this one. Your lone remaining ACC team, the Miami Hurricanes, the number 5 seed, they go up against the number 1 seed Houston. 9 p.m. approximately on TBS. 15 seed Princeton against 6 seed Creighton. And then in the nightcap on CBS, 9:45, number 3 seed Xavier and number 2 seed Texas. All right, here we go. All right, Gonzaga was fouled, and it's their star player, Drew Timme. Drew Timme will be going to the line for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the heart and soul of this Gonzaga team, especially that team 2 years ago, that undefeated team that made it all the way to the title game before losing to Baylor. And Drew Timme tonight, 36 points for Drew Timme tonight. 25 seconds left at the line for 2. Oh, missed the first one.
Oh.
So it's going to be one possession either way.
Yep.
Whether he makes it or misses it. Both teams.
Well,
Yes, MF?
I was going to say, if he misses the second, box out, get the defense, and then you could hold for the final shot where you could win it.
25 Well, actually, they put a little extra time on the clock, 25.3 seconds left. And Timmy about to take his second free throw. All right, here we go. Both teams have one timeout left. He missed the both. UCLA can tie it with a 2 or take the lead with a 3. 20 seconds left. It's Campbell, the star player of UCLA, Tiger Campbell. Kicks it out. 3-pointer. He got it. UCLA takes the lead with 12.2 left.
But did they?
Holy cow, are you kidding?
Yeah, but the problem is they gave Gonzaga too much time. They gave Gonzaga way too much time. I would have tried to melt the clock down even lower and before you hit the 3. But because now a 2-point, now you give Gonzaga a chance to win the game.
It was Bailey. Bailey with the 3. 12.2 seconds left. 76-75 UCLA. Actually, they put some more extra time on the clock. It's now 12.4 seconds remaining. 76-75 UCLA. UCLA called their last timeout, so they are out of timeouts. Gonzaga with one timeout left. You cannot help but think about the history of Gonzaga and UCLA in the NCAA tournament. 2006. Well, we are now past midnight on the East Coast, but it was 17 years to the day in the Sweet 16 when UCLA defeated Gonzaga 73-71. And the lasting image we all remember, Adam Morrison, an emotional wreck after that game. And then, of course, 2021, Jalen Suggs, with perhaps now the greatest buzzer beater in tournament history, surpassing that of Chris Jenkins. When Chris Jenkins of Villanova hit that buzzer
the 3-pointer, the 3-pointer to win it, yeah.
And Gonzaga won that one 93-90. All right, here we go. 10 seconds left. Gonzaga, 3-pointer. He got it. 78-76. UCLA driving. He lost the ball. Holy cow, are you kidding? What a finish. What a game. Unbelievable. It was Watson. Watson with the 3. Actually, no, it was Strather. He hit the 3. Kiss off the glass. UCLA, Tiger Campbell was driving to the bucket. He lost the ball. 78-76 Gonzaga. 1.1 seconds left. Julian Strather. And he actually was fouled, so he's going to be going to the line for 2. He missed the first.
Oh.
1.1. And UCLA has no timeouts.
No, they got to go the length of the court now. If I'm Strather, I would miss it intentionally just so that, because there's no way that you can get the second shot. Are they reviewing the clock again?
I don't know. I think they might have been. Oh my goodness, what a finish. This is why we always hope for bonus commentary on this show. This is why we always hope for it. For finishes like this. At the line, he actually made the free throw, so it's now 79-76. Can UCLA do it? The long pass. Campbell puts up a prayer. No good. Gonzaga wins. the Gonzaga Bulldogs defeat the UCLA Bruins 79-76. That little engine that became a national power, are going back to the regional final. And on Saturday night, it's going to be 4 versus 3. The number 4 seed, UConn, out of the Big East. The number 3 seed, Gonzaga, out of the West Coast Conference. Oh, MF, there goes another Final Four team because we both had UCLA going to the Final Four. But so much for that.
Yep.
Holy cow, are you kidding? What a finish.
And it was very reminiscent of the Chris Jenkins three-pointer that when he won the national championship. Not in the same spot, but the same look. Diacono driving it up the lane, passes it back, and Jenkins hit the three. It's almost similar what Gonzaga did here tonight, bringing it up the court, passes backwards, three-point bomb, game over.
2 years ago, Jalen Suggs was the hero with that half-court buzzer beater. That's now the greatest buzzer beater in tournament history, surpassing the Jenkins one. Perfect pass, and Tiger Campbell put up the prayer, but it was not answered. Off the rim. And the Gonzaga Bulldogs. It was Jalen Suggs 2 years ago in 2021 in the Final Four. 2023, remember the name of Julian Strawther. Julian Strawther. Now he becomes the latest hero in Gonzaga folklore. 5th career Elite 8 appearance for Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They are heading to the regional final on Saturday night, and they will battle it out against the UConn Huskies. And here's a little interesting Tony fun fact here. These two teams, Gonzaga and UConn, met in the regional final, the West Regional Final, in 1999. So almost a quarter century later, they're going to be meeting again for the right to go to the Final Four in Houston. So Congratulations, Gonzaga. The rematch lived up to the hype. What else is there to say? Another 5-star Shakespearean drama classic. That's 3 instant classic tournament games between these two teams. 2006, 2021, and now 2023. And now Gonzaga leads the all-time tournament series 2-1. UCLA won the first one. The Zags have now won the last 2, both in heart-pounding fashion. What a finish. What a game. And with that, I think it's high time we call it a night here. So
I agree.
So with that, that will put the bow on this edition of TXN Sports World. We want to thank you all so very much. MF, we have a programming reminder. Hit them up with it.
Yes. Actually, as a matter of fact, guys, due to the fact that we a lot of stuff going on, we're actually moving the Cerebral Smack Talk to Saturday night at 10:30 Eastern. So 10:30 Eastern Saturday night is Cerebral Smack Talk, SmackDown Live, AEW Rampage, and we're also gonna be recapping or previewing the RWA Cash is King event that's going down on Sunday. Myself and Anthony Floyer are going to be at the show for that. And yes, so nothing more to say. Anthony, we'll see you guys on Saturday at 10:30.
Yep. So no show tomorrow night. So get used to it. For the next 2 Fridays, we're not going to have a show because we're taking this show off because of the Rampage reason, and then the following week we're taking it off because we want to enjoy the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So, all right. So let's run it down. Saturday night, 10:30. MF will have it. Braves Fan 95. A special Saturday night edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk where we will review Friday Night SmackDown as well as AEW Rampage as we always do. And then MF will preview RWA Cash is King. And then Monday night we start WrestleMania week. Ridiculously Raw kicks it off. The final Monday Night Raw, the go-home show, their go-home show for WrestleMania in Phoenix. And then in a special Tony's Take, I will have the results of the Impact Wrestling Sacrifice event. And on top of that, I will also be previewing the Impact Wrestling Multiverse United show. So that all goes down Monday night. Very special Tony Steak. That's Monday night. Wednesday night, MF will have it. Wednesday Night Madness, as we will be reviewing NXT, their go home show for Stand and Deliver. We'll also be reviewing AEW Dynamite and MF. You'll also be previewing your big event, Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor. So I do know you'll have that for us on Wednesday night. And then next Thursday night, it will not be TXN Sports World. We are going to have a special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, as it will be all about NXT Stand and Deliver and the 2-night spectacular known as WrestleMania 39. Get ready, my friends. Exciting things coming. What a time to be alive indeed. So that's it. So until Saturday night for the special Saturday edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever, the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Saturday night for that special Saturday edition of Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching TXN Sports World right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.